Hi guys, and welcome to another session of Honest Talk About Women, where you'll learn tips, tricks and strategies on how to navigate the minefields of dating and relationships. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and also comment in the comment section. It all helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you have a comment you want to share with viewers, you can contact me on my email address listed below. So let's get into today's session, which has an unusual twist at the end. But I must say, I'm not here offering legal advice. If you want specialist legal advice, you need to seek a lawyer. Each country has different jurisdictions and you need to get specialist advice. So let's get into it. This relates to a Chinese couple who went to family court to split up the assets of a relationship that lasted 7 years. And this was in our national newspaper, dated the 6th of October 2024. It's quite a long-winded sort of article, and let me condense it for you. So basically, there was a lesbian couple in China, and it was frowned upon, lesbian relationships. And so the eldest daughter in the relationship, her parents thought she had a mental illness and asked her to go see a doctor for help. But she said she'll get married to a Chinese guy, and they got married. It was a fake marriage. He wasn't living in the apartment. The Chinese woman was living in the apartment, and it was kept secret from the parents. Anyway, however, in 2017, they decided to move to New Zealand. And if there's a liberal country they ever want to come to, it would be New Zealand, because New Zealand must be one of the most liberal countries in the world. If you decide as a society on how liberal it is and look at the metrics, then New Zealand ranks high in all of them. We've got legal gambling 24/7, almost basically 24-hour access to alcohol, cigarettes, prostitution's legal, and even abortion is very liberal at 20 weeks. And even if you want to get a termination after that, you just have to get a sign-off by two medical practitioners. But if you look at all those metrics that consider a society liberal, they're all the statistics are heading in the opposite direction, which is good. So gambling is flat. It's not increasing at all. It's mostly Chinese and Polynesians that visit the gambling floors. Alcohol's on the decrease, and they measure that based on wastewater samples. Cigarettes are on the decrease for the last 20 years. Prostitution, even though it's legal, it's not located right in your face. It's quite discreet. And also abortion numbers are down in the last 20 years. It's declining. So New Zealand is a very liberal place. In fact, most people in New Zealand don't give a toss. New Zealand had its first transgender mayor and also member of parliament, and it was actually the first in the world. She became mayor in 1995 and an MP, member of parliament, in 1999. And it's a world's first. But what was more remarkable was she was elected from a province called the 𝗧𝗹𝗸, which is known for farmers. And farmers are very, very conservative people. They work incredibly hard. A lot of them work 7 days a week. And they voted in the transgender mayor and also a member of parliament. So it was very interesting. New Zealand was also one of the first countries in the world to legalize same-sex marriage. New Zealand recently had a referendum on the legalization of recreational cannabis. So the vote was to allow retail outlets basically to sell cannabis in a certain amount. And that was rejected. It was quite close, but it got rejected in New Zealand. And it's hard to interpret why it got rejected, given New Zealand is such a liberal country. But my viewpoint is that given that alcohol is a drug and it's on the decline, people consider why the necessity to introduce another drug that can do harm to people. So for those countries that say the West is in decline, I can assure you New Zealand is not in decline. In fact, if you look at those key metrics for a liberal country, they're all going, they're either static or going backwards. Gambling revenues static, alcohol consumption's declining, cigarette consumption's declining, teenage pregnancies declining, abortion's declining, and prostitution's not in your face. So it's just an open-minded country. Let's get back to the Chinese couple that come to New Zealand. So lesbian couple in China. It's frowned upon in China. It's considered a mental illness. They decide to come to New Zealand, where it's a lot more acceptable. They come to New Zealand. They need to buy a house, and the eldest lady of the couple, her parents send over basically $1 million in cash to buy a house. And because of the currency controls of China, they had to go through several people to get the amounts out of China and into New Zealand. That's just another thing we take for granted in New Zealand is capital transfers. Anyone can transfer money, and there's pretty much no restrictions as long as it's to one of the big currencies. Wise is a great platform if you want to transfer money. There's no limits, or there are limits. It's 50 million US a day or 150 million per year, which is more than acceptable for most people. So this couple comes to New Zealand, they buy a house, comes early 20, the youngest one goes back to China, and New Zealand closes down for COVID, and she gets locked out of the country. Meanwhile, the eldest lady in the relationship has an affair with someone else. So their pretty much 7-year relationship has come to an end. So when the young lady comes back into New Zealand, she finds out and she's off to court, and she wants 50% of the $1 million house and 50% of the chattels and the cars and the cash in the bank. So they go off to court, and most courts in New Zealand, or family courts, just do the 50-50 split. They've been living together for more than 2 years, or they've got an intent to be in a relationship. You don't necessarily have to be living together to lose 50%, but this couple was together for 7 years, and you expect the judge to split down the middle. However, the judge split it 80-20 in favour of the elder lady, and he was satisfied on the balance of probabilities that there was a significant sums of money transferred to New Zealand in 2017, where they were at the time intended as gifts to the daughter of the house. In terms of was intended as gifts to their daughter for a house. So this is in his words, the judge's words. Equal sharing of the relationship property would be completely unfair to the eldest person and her parents, as the outcome that I cannot continuance in these circumstances, very much legal speak. So very interesting decision by the judge. It wasn't a 50-50 split down the track. There was documented evidence of the money transfers, and it clearly came from one person, and the judge ruled 80-20 in this situation. So if you want to get anything out of this story, guys, not only is same-sex laws acceptable in New Zealand, but you need a prenuptial agreement, and they could have avoided a lot of hurt and emotional trauma by going through the legal system and incurring legal costs if they had a prenuptial agreement in place that clearly identified at the start who had the assets, who had the liabilities, who was contributing going forward, and so forth. So if you want to protect yourself in a relationship, get some specialist legal advice and make it detailed as to who owns what going into a relationship, because there's a good chance that you may lose a significant amount of money if it's not documented at the start of the relationship. So that's it for today, guys. If you want some advice on dating and relationships, on how to navigate the minefields, you can purchase my book, Alpha Dating, off Amazon Kindle books. It's a great buy, very reasonably priced, and you can receive it in seconds electronically. So that's it for today, guys. Take care.